It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry did appear on the injury report after practice yesterday with a foot injury. He spoke with the media earlier today and addressed said foot injury.
Oh, yeah. My foot is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I'll be out there on Sunday playing, so foot is fine. There's nothing to panic about. Everybody have a great Thursday, so.
Henry says he'll play on Sunday Night Football in Kansas City. The team back on the practice field at St. Thomas Sports Park. Titans defensive lineman DeMarcus Walker will join Blaine and Mickey coming up at 1:45. Tonight, Thursday Night Football is in Houston. The 1-5-1 Texans hosting the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Houston without wide receiver Brandon Cooks tonight for a 7:15 kickoff. You can catch the Westwood One call right here on 104.5 The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. Lucas, what'd you say in your update about Thursday Night Football?
The undefeated Eagles and the 1-5-1 Houston Texans and no Brandon Cooks.
Does the NFL just they have to hate us partially, all of us. And secondly, they have the greatest sense of humor of any league in the world because it's like, guess what? Every Thursday night, you're going to have to scour the internet to find this game. You can't switch back and forth because it's not on a channel. So it's not like you could go back and forth to a MAC game or NBA.
Or a World Series game, also involving Philadelphia.
Could not do it because you're stuck on the internet watching the game, and I don't care if I sound crotchety about this. Not only are we going to do that to you, we're just going to give you the most putrid, horrific matchups Thursday after Thursday. It's going to be like just a dose of castor oil in a giant spoon that you're just going to have to swallow each week. And guess what? Probably going to be the highest rated. Well, it's not even on cable TV. Is it the highest rated show on the internet again this week? It's just amazing. Well, I'm going to watch. I'm sick like that.
Ravens Bucks was decent last week.
I don't know. I got to see how the game starts off. If it starts like I'm watching paint, nope. It's slow and just, oh my, this is horrible football. I got to turn it. And it may be just because the teams that are playing. I mean, if we beat them running a high school offense, I can't imagine what the Philadelphia Eagles don't do, man. I mean, they can throw it around the yard. The quarterback can run. They got a running game. Defense gets after the quarterback. Got some great DBs. Like, you know, man, they are primed right now for the NFC to represent the Eagles.
I did a
Hail
hit
to the Eagles.
with the I did a hit with the radio station in Kansas City. For some reason, they found me years ago, so they always called me the week before the Titans and the Chiefs play because they play every year. And so, you know, they're like, what's going on with the Titans offense? You know, I said, let me ask you guys this. Let me just ask you guys. Let me ask you a question. What if the Chiefs came out and threw 10 passes in a game? Would you even believe that you were on Earth in the year 2022? And one of those guys is like, no, honestly, no, I can't. He said, I can't even imagine. I said, the Titans did that last week against the Texans. They threw the ball 10 times. Probably regret that they threw it 10.
Yeah.
But if you ask them, they say probably should have stuck with about 7.
Yeah.
And Downing was on today. You got to ask about it. And, you know, did you think about trying to keep them honest? Did you Lucas, it's somewhere in that, you know, needle in a haystack of the press conference today. They said, did you think about like trying to throw it some to keep them honest? And he was like, no, no. I mean, when you call a run on first down and it's 10 yards, then you call a run on second down and it's 10 yards, and then you call a run on third down and it's 10 yards or 8, you know, then no, we didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
In an NFL game, and they all knew what was coming. I mean, you play defense in the league. Would you have been so mad? Like, what would you have been going through if that was happening, well, in something that you were part of? Anything close to that?
I don't even know if I put me back in football mode. I mean, no, First of all, I would have been lit coming into the thing if he already had rushed for over 200 yards 3 other times against us. I would have told everybody on the defense all week, hey, man, did you know he rushed for 200 yards, whether they were on the team or not? Because some people are like, hey, I wasn't here. And I'm just letting you know the history here of what's going on here. You know this team moved from Tennessee. I mean, man, I would be saying, Houston, I would say all of these things, man. If you don't come in that thing with a straight tude, man, something is wrong. It's not a guy I want to play with. So I would have been, oh, man, I would have been so mad. That whole game, they were like, man, hey, what's wrong with that guy? He got some fire in his behind. That would not have happened. No way, man. That was. Oh, man, that might have been one of the times that at halftime I might have thrown a lot of trash cans. I've been known to do that every time or two.
I would have thrown every trash can that I could find.
Yeah, I can't.
The goal line play where nobody even touched him.
Didn't touch him on 4th down.
They knew what was coming.
They quit on that play. They were done. They melted in. I mean, that's what the Titans did. They broke their will. That is hard to do. They just kept running. I said, okay. I mean, man, that's why I said I'm more like, dang, Lovie Smith, man. Nope. That was basically like a college, high school offense, what they did. We're going to run the football. You try to stop it 19, mid-80s, even 70s. That's when they ran football. That's what they did. I just wonder, in the Texans' defense is last in the run. But I'm interested to see. I think they can actually, maybe he's going to have to throw more than 10 times. But if they get up to like 15 to 18, I think they can win some games in the regular season. I just don't know if they can do it in the playoffs. Because it may get down to that. And it may just get down to if they just can make one explosive play in the passing game to keep it moving. Because teams aren't built to stop that. They're built to stop throwing it around the yard. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, running against the, option offenses in college, and you only get 1 week to prepare for it. Really hard because it's assignment driven. So you try to keep your defense simple and your assignments so everybody knows what their assignments are. So, and it's still hard to stop. So, yeah, that's where we at, man. So, good for the Titans. Man, and if Tannehill doesn't play, oh, my. Are we getting any reports of how much did he do yesterday?
Downing got asked, and I think he said we're going to keep the curtain closed on that. I think was the way he phrased it. Like, what was Ryan able to do yesterday? He talked about getting out there a little bit. We'll keep the curtain closed on that. I think that's what he said. Basically, he said, I ain't telling you guys nothing.
Dang, so these guys are. Did we see him in the walkthrough? Do we know anything, Lucas?
No, he was on a bike yesterday.
He was on a bike.
Tannehill was.
No, I know. He was on a bike. He told us at the end that he was going to do some reps, didn't he? He said before practice yesterday, I'm going to do something today. He acted like he was going to do a limited amount of reps.
You got this audio? Ryan Tannehill said this. Here's Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, just getting back into it. Slowly working into it with the ankle and see where I'm at day by day, just moving around and getting ready to go.
Overall, the pain kind of going away a little bit, or you feel like it's still?
Pain's going to be there. That's just kind of where we're at with it. Unfortunately, with the nature of the injury, it kind of is there. So just going to be a matter of if I can do my job or if I can't.
And Mike Vrabel said, we're expecting him to do some things today. We'll see how it goes as he continues to work through preparation, and we'll see how he feels. And the first question that got asked of Tannehill yesterday, I don't even know if that audio made it out. Did you participate in walkthrough? Yes, that is what we're going to do today. That's what he said. So he did something. He was listed as limited, I believe. I had taken a picture of that.
Yeah, I don't know if we should believe what all these reports are because I have no idea. I'm going to do all of walkthrough. Thanks. That helped me out tremendously.
I'm going to find you this injury report.
Man, I'm going to say this. I'm hoping that Tannehill plays, but if Malik Willis starts, I hope he makes a big strides like he did in the preseason on his second start. Because that first start was not good. And I mean, not good. Dude. We let one pull the trigger, man. Hey, he can only go up. Let me just say that. He can only get a little bit. I mean, man, with a running game and he looked like that. I'm getting a little nervous about if he's could be the dude. So I'm gonna keep letting him get a little bits and pieces here. So we shall see if Tanny time can't go. Because I'm starting to think that maybe this was a high ankle sprain if he don't go into this game. That'd be 2 weeks.
Mm.
Man.
That would buy him into a third week if he didn't play this week.
Man,
They ran for 14 yards, and they scored 17 points. That's how close to the vest they played things. Yeah. I mean, if you're Spagnuolo, the Chiefs, this guy's seen Derrick Henry every year. I mean, they're number 3 rush defense in the NFL? Yeah, number 3 against the rush. They know how to stop the run.
Yeah, they're talking about the Chiefs. The whole big deal, but there has been that they're kind of more of a finesse team, and so they're not a real physical team. Most of the time when you say this, because your offense is kind of the ringleader of your team, really, because they're putting up a lot of points. So I think that's what they get stigma like that. And defensively, now they've kind of played a little nastier. Yeah, so that physicality is how most teams get them. I don't know if the Titans have enough this time. They only threw the ball 10 times. Maybe they shouldn't even throw. If Tannehill plays more than 15 times, they throw less than that. I mean, I think then they're doing a good job.
Even
with
they're
running the football.
Playing.
Yeah.
Just keep doing.
But he'll complete some of those.
Yeah.
Some of those balls. He'll at least let it go.
Guys
were open.
Even the Chig ball, where he was literally just running open. Downey got asked about today, and he essentially said, "Yeah, he was late. He was late."
Yeah, that means the game is too fast. That's what I'm getting at. His reads, he was going through them, but not fast enough. So, yeah, the one when he got sacked, and this is how when offensive linemen get perturbed, they protected very well, and then he took a sack. Guys were open, and one guy ran out, one guy ran a dig. They were both open. He was looking dead at him. He faked it, and what did he see? I don't know what he saw. Like, the free safety was out of the way. There was nothing.
Is that where your brain's just going so fast you don't know what you're seeing?
Maybe, not your brain, but I think the things around you are going so much faster than you thought. And he might have saw the safety look like he was driving down on a dig, but what in reality is he was just stopping because he thought he was going to get sacked. I mean, so you can only see so much. I don't know, man. That was kind of interesting. I'd love to hear how they coached him through what happened in this game when he threw the ball or during the passing plays. Because it seems like he's getting coached correctly, and that's why I want to see him a little bit more, see if he adjusts to the speed. And that's going to take more than just, playing here or there or spot playing. He's going to have to be the quarterback. So, yeah, he's got a little ways to go, say the least. Like, typically, I wanted to get my expectations set where, what do you expect out of a first-year quarterback starting his first game? Mm-hmm. And so I kind of went in it, not thinking, something great, but I wanted to see glimpses of what I think he could be. And I don't even know if I got enough for that. I really didn't. Not in that game. I mean, maybe because he didn't throw enough, but from what he did do, that wasn't enough. That didn't make me feel secure at all.
If you want to feel secure about the Vols and Georgia game, well, guess what? Let's go behind enemy lines next. Jordan Hill, who covers Georgia for Dawgs 247. We've had him on before. Great guest. Let's get into what's going on this Saturday. Huge game in the SEC. Huge game. Oh, that's it. Lucas says that's at 2:20. So we don't have Jordan Hill until 2:20. Is that right?
That's right.
So
yeah,
plan
DeMarcus Walker
for like
coming
an
up at
hour and
1:45.
hour and 6 minutes from now. DeMarcus Walker will join us at 1:45. So we come back. Here's what we'll get into. We talked a little bit about Big Jeff yesterday. We talked a little bit about the article in The Athletic and kind of where he is with his contract and, what the Titans might be able to do next year. I got some information about like comps for Big Jeff. Also, what's the Titans cap situation for next year? While Big Jeff's trying to get paid, you want to hear this. Next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So, DeMarcus Walker is going to join us at 1:45, so you can check that out. The Titans defensive lineman, Florida State guy, won a national championship there with the local fella Jalen Ramsey.
Oh yeah, Winston there too?
Oh yeah,
Was he?
Jameis's big year, man. Pro style Jameis out there leading him to a championship, first overall
Jimbo
pick.
was there too.
Oh yeah, you probably ask him about Jimbo. Hey man, what's going on with guy at A&M?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what he was doing at Florida State. Big Jeff, he probably played against Texas A&M a couple times. He played on a bub ankle against the Texans, and he was still crazy destructive. He used one guy to tackle another guy. You don't see that often, especially when the guy you're using to tackle the other guy is like 320 or whatever he is. Pro Football Focus, team-high 7 pressures, including a sack, a QB hit, and 5 hurries for Big Jeff in the game. There's an article on Big Jeff yesterday where he was quoted talking about basically saying he hadn't gotten an offer yet, and we read the quote, and you may have seen it. It was kind of posted everywhere. Again, the article on Athletic. Dan Pompey wrote the story, and we talked about what he said, and so has everybody in town, and it was all over Twitter, and heck, even people on Facebook were asking me questions about it last night. Big Jeff tweeted this on Wednesday night. Listen, I love where I'm at. I love this organization and most of all my teammates. I'm not worried about a contract. I'm focused on winning. Next story, please. That's what Big Jeff tweeted last night. Told people just keep it moving. He loves it here. That make you feel better? Titans fans, did that make you feel better when he tweeted that? 615-737-1045.
Well, my whole point is, I mean, I know they asked him the question. Maybe he shouldn't have answered the question, and there wouldn't even be a conversation about the contract. If you wanted to kind of just say, hey, man, we're not even there to have this kind of discussion. Let's do something else, Maybe he should have just done that, in a different way, of course. But once now he's opened his mouth, because I think this interview was, a couple weeks ago or so? During the bye week is what I'm understanding. And because I'm always interested in when these questions are asked and everything else, I want to assume that was just like yesterday. So, yeah, what I'm really finding out is that most guys who are really good guys, they try to be honest in their speaking to the media. And really, there's a way you got to go about that and being educated on how to speak to the media when not giving them something, but giving them something. And I think, he's going through that process being a superstar. He's just trying to be honest and upfront. And the guy asked him a question, he just answered it. And I'm sure they were all factual, but I'm sure he loves it here until he doesn't, until they don't pay him. I mean, at the end of the day, or will he have to force his way out? I don't think he's that kind of guy, but you never know, where they're going. It could be dead end, and they go, hey, we'll never be able to pay you, but we're going to be able to keep you the next couple of years because of we can tag you. So, hey, he spoke on it. Somebody asked him. Now, naturally, people are going to follow up and make other questions and asked about the article from a national guy. Yeah.
So we've talked about several times, you and I, and, I've had you to put on your GM hat and like, okay, what would you pay him and where would you start? And you've pointed out several times, because if you're new to the show, I did not play in the NFL, but Blaine did. Negotiations are rough. Like, they tell you everything you can't do, and here's how we don't have this.
Yeah, especially
right.
No matter how good you are. It doesn't
right.
matter. Yeah, I mean, so at this point in time, they go make up whatever they want to say they're not going to pay him that, or they just don't want to pay him that, whatever that number is. If, there's, Aaron Donald at 30, and then number 2 guys, 22, 24?
DeForest Buckner. I wrote it down. Me. Aaron Donald is number 1, 31.67. He's 31.6 or 7, basically, mil per year. DeForest Buckner is 21 mil per year. Chris Jones is 20. That's it. That's the 20 club. Jonathan Allen is next. He's 18.
Yeah, and those contracts were done a couple years ago, too. So he has to be at the low 22. He's got to be above the other 2 that they signed. They signed those contracts 2 or 3 years ago. So he's got to be 22 to – I think he should be 22 to 25. Like I said before, I believe Aaron Donald's in a different stratosphere, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got 25, So I just kind of – it's going to take a minute for somebody else to get to that level. That's, Big Jeff is on a superstar plane. I hope they will do right by him, and they're going to have to come out of their pocket. That's the way you do for superstars, and it's a generational talent type player. I've said that from the beginning. I never, That's what I said. I would sign him over if I had to choose between him and A.J. Brown, because I believe I could find another A.J. Brown. That's why I go there. Not because one was better than the other. It's just that one's probably easier to duplicate. As we're finding out, not so easy, right? But I know it's hard to find another Big Jeff, for sure. Like that person hardly ever exists. I mean, we have to go to Aaron Donald, and then we have to go way back generations to think about somebody who was that dominant like that. So, he has to get some. I wish he could get one mantle on, Defensive Player of the Year. When I look at Aaron Donald, his resume is just, wow, off the chart. He got it 3 times.
Yeah, I got his resume. You want to hear this? Because you were saying, I was saying yesterday, is he in that territory? And you said, no, until he does his things as Aaron Donald, he can be great. But you can't be like Aaron Donald until you've done what Aaron Donald has done. And he's playing great, but he hasn't. Listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl champion, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, 7-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowl. He was the sacks leader in 2018, and he was the 2010s All-Decade Team defensive tackle.
Now, naturally, that's longevity. But Aaron Donald's only been in the league, 9 years?
Yep, this is year 9 because he's 8-time Pro Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's on Big Jeff's resume? This is year 4? I know he's got 1 Pro Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that. Does he have 2?
No.
Definitely he's going to make it this year.
He's going to make it this year.
Yeah. So
he's going to make where they say it's the Pro Bowl, but it's not the Pro Bowl anymore.
Right, whatever it is. Yeah. So
whatever they call it.
2, going in year 4. So when you look at Aaron Donald, you see after his first year, he made the Pro Bowl his second year, his third year, fourth year. See, and then that he started a little bit early. Now, Big Jeff had the ACL tear and all those things. That's why when people, I know we get dramatic in the moment. But in the moment, I mean, he's not there. He's got to start stacking his resume to start saying, hey, I could be as good as Aaron Donald or in that stratosphere. And he's already at the top, like it's, of the guys behind them. Now it's a matter of, okay, let's stack this resume. He may not ever get, he may not ever get a Super Bowl. I have no idea. But All-Pro, All-Decade, Defensive Player of the Year, the way he plays, those are all on the table. All on the table. So he had the same competition just like Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm. He has 1 Pro Bowl, 2021. He has 1 second team All-Pro, also 2021.
Yeah, so, he's starting there. You would think he would have started probably a year sooner with the accolades, but, hey, you never know. So he may play longer. So we shall see. But I think he has the potential, but that's going to be hard to touch. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
It's an interior defense. It's a lineman, Blaine. Like not a defensive lineman.
He could possibly do it. There's certain people, like he's got all the traits and the gifts as far as just talent, but he also has this work ethic and this domination to him and this dog to him that adds up to greatness. Like, and then, coachable, leader. He's starting to stack all these things, and you go, uh-oh, there's nothing else that could stop him now. I mean, he's learning how to rush the passer better, getting better numbers there. So the next is now, how consistent can you be when everybody knows they have to stop you and they still can't? With the double and triple teams and everything else. So that's when you're done. Because every time you play in the Titans on defense, you circle Big Jeff. We got to contain this big fella right here, man. Or we're going to be in trouble.
So he would have his option year next year, which is about $10 million. Then you could franchise him. So you could technically have him under. Yeah, but you can franchise him twice. So you have 3 more years of Big Jeff if you wanted to go that route.
Outside of this year. Mm-hmm.
Outside of this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing.
And that's when players get really contentious and they get upset because now it starts to seem like it's personal. Like, you're not going to pay us regardless, even though you're going to give me this franchise tag, which is a high number, cap number to the team and everything else. So now it's like, okay, y'all just using me till y'all can't use me anymore. Then y'all going to let me free.
This might be the scariest part of this whole deal because we read the numbers. Aaron Donald's at 31.67. DeForest Buckner is 21. Chris Jones is 20. Jonathan Allen is 18. Those are the big guys. So you're going to be the second highest number, whatever that is, with Big Jeff. I got to thinking about next year's salary cap. Do you know how far the Titans are? Do you know where they are in relation to the estimated cap next year? It's estimated to be 2018. $218 million.
Yeah, what's this year? Was 207?
Yeah, 207, 208.
Yeah, 218. Yeah, that should be enough to get Big Jeff in there.
They're $17 million over that right now.
Oh my!
They're $17 million over the cap. Now, you look at some of the numbers. What are you going to do with Taylor Lewan? Because he's got a $14.8 million hit. And there's no dead money. What are you going to do with Zach Cunningham? He's got a $13.75 cap hit next year. Tannehill has a 36.6. I mean, is there anything that you would think, okay, Malik Willis will be ready next year or the years beyond? They may just tell Tannehill, like, hey, man, we're going to push you out a couple more years. Get that 36.6 lowered.
Yeah,
for next year.
No, I'm right there with you based off what I'm seeing at this point in time.
And we're not giving up on Willis or anything like that, but they got to make decisions as they go, and they've got to read the room.
Oh, why can't they also give long-term deals, modest long-term deals? Let's say they already did Hooker, so let's go David Long, or maybe extend Autry. I think he signed a 3-year deal, so it's his second year in his deal. Maybe giving him an extra year. And also maybe signing Jeff. Or you can even go even sooner. Fulton. He's in year 3, right? Or is this 2?
No.
It's 2?
I believe this is
I want to say it's 3. So this is 3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a second-round pick, so he probably got a 4-year deal. Yeah, I would start, looking at that. You can get him for some modest numbers. When I say modest numbers, I'm talking about in NFL standards. A starting corner, if you paying him, he's making, let's say, $800 now because he's on his rookie deal, and you now, okay, we'll pay you 10, 12 million or whatever the starting corner going rate is. I would say it's around, 12. So, yeah. And then you 12 or 800, over the next couple years. So, I don't know what his salary is, but I'm assuming it's somewhere around there, being he's a second-round pick. What's the going rate for a starting cornerback in NFL? It cannot be 14.
Oh.
Cornerbacks?
I mean, it has to be in the high teens, right? I mean, for the best guys, it's year 3 for him. Fulton's cap hit next year is $1.6 million. $1.6 million. Here's the biggies for the Titans next year. Again, they're $17 million over the cap.
But you can also target guys whose contracts aren't up to maybe lessen your cap too.
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And the case with Big Jeff, you're going to have to pay him $10 million next year. That's his option number. You could pay him a longer-term contract and lower that number way down from $10 million next year. You could make it 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, but still you could lower that number from 10. Here's the biggies next year. Tannehill's cap hit, 36.6. Bud Dupree cap hit, 20.2. Kevin Byard, 19.6. Harold Landry, 18.8. Derrick Henry, 15.8. Then you got Lewan, 14.8. Robert Woods, 13.75. Same number for Zach Cunningham. Big Jeff's cap hit next year is 10.7. That's everything all rolled into one next year. That's the option full amount is 10.7 is what it is. Autry, 9.25. Hooker, $9 million. Ben Jones, 8.2. Then you drop all the way to Caleb Farley, 3.68.
Well, we shall see. We got a long way to make those decisions. So, yeah.
Christian Fulton, though, the way that guy's playing, you want him somewhere else? You want to try to find another Christian Fulton?
No, not right now. But man, especially you want to look at hey, there's the injury risk there too. A guy who's kind of been nicked up every year. I mean, whether it was just something minor, he missed a couple games, hamstring, shoulder, elbow or something, whatever it was, but nothing major. But yeah, man, 10 mil, bro. You gonna walk away? Got you. See, that's what they should have done with Big Jeff. Dude, remember, I just knew they were going to say, you did too, though. We thought you were going to sign coming into camp. I did.
We had Jordan DeJani on yesterday. He said, I had written the story about him getting his extension. He said he was so sure that he was going to get one.
So now he's a 4-year, $25 million a year.
That's if you put a gun to my head and said, what would you guess that it would be? I would say 4 for 25.
You got to do it, bro.
4 for 25. I mean, would you go shake his hand down the hallway today and go 4 for 25? Hold out your hand?
Yeah. Yeah.
4 for 25.
Yeah, I use his hand, but I use my hand to shake that. Yeah.
How much you going to guarantee? Because everybody gets a lot of guaranteed money now. What are you going to guarantee him? This isn't like the days when you
Watch
played.
this. Since they said we don't know where we're going to get the money from, let me wink, wink, nod, nod. So how about this? I'll give you whatever amount that I think is fair on the. Don't look at the signing bonus. That's part of the guarantee. How about this? I'll guarantee all 4 years of your contract.
What?
Yes. Yep, because since I don't want to come out of my pocket, because I don't know where I'm getting the cash from, I know I will have cash down the road. So I'll give you, let's say, I don't know, $10 million signing bonus instead of whatever the big number would be over $100 million over 4 years, and just guarantee the entire contract 4 years. Guess why I do that? Because I know I got 4 years left in Big Jeff at an elite level. I'm going to get the bang for my buck for that money. So, yeah, you can make it a 6-year deal so it'll look fluffy, and everything. But in reality, it could be a 4-year that is guaranteed. That way it's like the guaranteed money, signing bonus and everything included. And then if we get to a point where we're at 4 years and we still got 2 years left, if I need to give them a bump, pay cut or what, bump and pay, whatever, we go from there. And guess where I'm at then? Dun, 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 the new stadium. See, you gotta be, we're not playing checkers here, man. We're playing chess. They gotta make this happen, man. They can't let that guy get away. It's impossible.
One of the guys who lines up next to him on Sunday is DeMarcus Walker. He is set to join us next, coming off the practice field. Titans defensive lineman DeMarcus Walker next on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. I saw the Scorps live in 85.
Did you in 85?
Yeah, Lucas playing Little Scorpions for me here.
Oh, I was
It was a
too.
great show. You were too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, old Woodchuck was home drinking some milk while I was rocking out.
Oh, my baby died.
Yes, a baby diet. My ears rang so much after that show that I couldn't hear the phone ring for 3 days.
You couldn't hear the phone ring?
No, the ringing in my ears was just like the phone ring. I couldn't tell the difference. That's how loud that show was. Boy, I'd go back. I'd go back and do it again. It was worth it. DeMarcus Walker, he wasn't born then. He's set to join us here any minute. He had his first sack against the Texans last week, and that dude, Davis Mills, is one of those things where he took a deep drop and he was just right there in his face, so he tried to back up a little bit, and no, he had nothing to do with that. He just went after him. That dude had 16 sacks as a senior at Florida State. I started thinking this morning, like, man, that guy's college career, because he was a freshman, played on the national championship Florida State team. And I'm sure people think, Winston, that team was loaded.
And yours truly, Jalen Ramsey, right?
Yep, Jalen Ramsey.
So he might have been a junior then, huh? He came out that year?
Did he came out?
Loaded.
He came out after
loaded.
that. So, yeah, he was young, too, on that team. And we had him actually here. He came and did a show and hung out with us. And
Oh, yeah.
well, he's long and got those long arms. And, I mean, he is just a problem physically.
He's super
What
athletic.
a matchup, yeah.
Yeah. They had a heck of a team there with Florida State. But, yeah, I'm interested to see, ask him some questions. I know he has a little bit of history with maybe the coaching staff. I think he was with the Texans.
He was, yeah.
I'm sure they had a lot of familiarity, and there was no doubt once he got in training camp that he was going to be on the roster. So, and he's shown that by how much he's gotten to play. So, this is it's going to be pretty cool. See what his thoughts on Big Jeff and archery and playing with those guys. See what that's like.
Well,
and at Florida State, we picked up another Florida State guy. What was his dad played in the league as well. So 2 Florida State guys. Edwards.
Mario Edwards.
Yeah, Mario Edwards, Jr. So we'll be waiting on Mr. DeMarcus Walker. I played with Denard Walker and G-Funk, Gary Walker. Yes.
G-Funk?
You know what? Gary Walker reminds me of Big Jeff. Yeah. Probably not quite as athletic as Big Jeff, but as far as pure power, Gary Walker was legit powerful. He was not playing. And he was kind of a short, squatty, body, power man. And, boy, did he talk smack all the time. Just like Big Jeff.
Big Jeff.
Yeah. He was kind of like that bully. He would be talking in the locker room, in the training room. It got to the point one time, I said, man, you need to just stop. Just shut your mouth.
He was 6'3", 324.
Who?
Gary Walker.
No.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Different. He went 6'3".
That's Gary Lamar Walker.
No.
A former defensive end. Played at Auburn, 1995 Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
Also played for the Jacks. He finished with the Texans.
Yeah. He got this dude. He had some power with him.
2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, this dude.
Hey, man.
I keep in touch with G-Funk. I talked to him at least a couple of times a year. He got a big old farm like out in Georgia somewhere, man. He's got, rooms in the inside of the ground and everything. That guy.
Well, that'd be a big room for him to fit in.
Yeah,
there.
he got food down there for stores like something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen there, man. I used to go fishing with him because he was a big country guy. He loved fish, so I was like, hey man, I go hang out with you a little bit on some fishing. So, kind of taught me how to fish and fish and hunt. That's what he was. He was a Southern dude for sure.
Oh, well, a little fishing hunting. He could take Traylon Burks. They could talk about the good old days. All right, Lucas is in my ear. He said, let's do this. They're just finishing practice. Yeah. He said, go ahead and take the break. So we could take the break, then we could come back, and we'll just get him to start the second hour. You like that?
We're talking about with DeMarcus Walker?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know about G-Funk. He may be inventorying his food.
I can call G-Funk right now. Gary Walker, man. He would answer. Like, what's going on? What up, bow-legged Lou? Who you messing with now? That's what he do. That's what I'm saying. He was the guy that kept everybody. He was one of those dudes that kept everybody loose. He was another one.
Well, that dude played a long time in the NFL too.
Yeah, his son is, I think, intern as a coach, I think, somewhere. And now he was telling me, I think it was at Auburn. I think now it's his second year. I think he's somewhere else now.
All right. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. We'll let the Titans finish practice, and DeMarcus Walker will join us next. We can ask him if he knows Gary Walker. We'll ask him lots of stuff, and we will do it all after this break. Woo, Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. DeMarcus Walker, he's getting his money's worth at practice today. He was supposed to join us at 1:45, and it's 1:59 and change as we get ready to start the second hour. Well, technically, we've started the second hour of the program. DeMarcus Walker should be with us here any second now. The Titans defensive lineman. Look forward to talking to him on we knew this in training camp. It sure looked like it, and it's really kind of proven it out. Deepest position on the team, right? Defensive line. The way those guys are playing, all of them.
Yeah, and it's kind of universal in that, some play D tackle, some play DN as one outside linebacker in the scheme. So that'd be a question I'd love to ask him is like, what is it like playing in, different positions and what what is it for you as far as which one do you prefer? Everybody has a preference which one they like. I'm sure he likes more the outside. He can get after the quarterback.
Well, he got after the quarterback on Sunday in Houston, had a sack as the Titans just, I don't know, man. The Texans look like a team that wanted to be at Disney World or something. This is way early in the year. They got like 10 more games. It's a long time to look like you don't want to be there.
Man.
And I mean, like Pierce looked like he wanted to be there. That guy broke 56 tackles and gained, 46 yards or whatever. That dude was like a Halloween scary movie villain. Like, guy would tackle him, and it'd be like, oh, no, he's not tackled. And he would, like, spring forward. And then some guy would hit him while he was springing forward, and he'd knock that guy down. So that guy would hold his foot. Then, like, some other guy would hit him. And then, miraculously, he would drag both of those guys 5 or 6 yards. That dude, he is fun to watch. I mean, we knew he was good, and we all watched him in Florida. And, he was a 500-yard-a-year rusher. But he's found him a spot in the NFL. But my gosh, that guy runs hard.
Yeah, well, he better because
Big Jeff,
Big Jeff, and his his own teammates, Pierce's own teammates was tackling him. So, hey man, the defense dominated him. I don't know if I've really seen a defense dominate like they did in this game. Maybe back when I was the '85 Bears, of course. I'm sure somewhere along the line, the Ravens dominated a team like that. But during this generation of throwing the football over the last 5 years, man, sure some really close, but that was just, oh my. They just, destroyed them. Like, man, and I know every team's not going to be like the Texans up front, but if they can just do something close to that every game, boy, man, I'd be super excited.
All of the practice videos and all this is starting to come out now, which means practice is over. So hopefully it means we have DeMarcus here soon. This is from Jimmy White. You ready for this? This long list of people. How long is this segment?
Talking about a list of people who didn't practice.
Who didn't practice. How long is this segment?
Man.
We got about 10 more minutes.
Do we need more? Do we need to push it?
Naquan Jones.
Did not practice.
Torrey Carter. Nate Davis.
Come on, man. You got to tell us what the injuries are, man.
Amani Hooker. It doesn't say this. It'll come out on the injury report. Nate Davis, Amani Hooker. Okay, that's bad. It gets terribly worse from here.
Uh-oh.
Jeff Simmons, again.
Oh, well, yeah, he's managing his ankle.
Derrick Henry.
What is he on?
Ryan Tannehill.
It was his foot.
Yeah, he got asked about his foot today. He said, nothing wrong with my foot. He was on the injury report, though, yesterday with his foot.
No, whoa.
Do you have this audio?
He said there's nothing wrong with his foot, but they had him on the injury report for his foot.
This is Lucas, Johnny on the spot. Lucas has it. This is Derrick
Wait a
Henry.
minute, man.
On the injury report,
man.
limited with the foot. This is him talking about his foot.
Oh yeah, my foot is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I'll be out there on Sunday playing, so foot is fine. There's nothing to panic about. Everybody have a great Thursday. So.
He was so deadpan when
he wouldn't say if it was the same foot too. He just said it's fine.
My foot's fine. My foot's fine. I'll play on Sunday.
But he said I'll be at practice today.
I mean, he was watching. Maybe that's what they meant. Like, I'll be at practice. I'll be watching. I'm gonna ride a bike. Low impact.
Well, so I'm thinking that wasn't really injured. That was a maintenance day.
Are you worried about Derrick Henry not practicing at this point?
No,
especially after him carrying them on his back Sunday and carrying 11 Texans on his back too. He had 22 people on his back. Well, he had himself. That's 20.
Well, it just made me wait till Derrick Henry was talking there. Like nothing was wrong with his foot. They just chose the foot to say that the injury was there. Why don't you just say rest day? I mean, 'cause that's how he was acting like, oh, nothing wrong with my foot. I'll be out there. Don't panic. Do not panic. Do not feed my Twitter handle about please come back. How are you? See, that's what he was thinking. Uh-oh. I'm about to.
Did it say foot? Oh, no.
No. Yeah, that's what people were thinking, the fans. So, no, I think he was trying to squash that real quick. So, yeah. So, if it was a maintenance day, cool. He deserves it.
We don't have the practice report. Usually that thing does not drop until we are done right around 3 o'clock. But this was the practice report from Wednesday, the official report. Torrey Carter didn't practice. Amani Hooker didn't practice. So neck, shoulder. Naquan Jones did not practice. Illness. Jeffrey Simmons did not practice. Ankle. Aaron Brewer, limited toe. Derrick Henry, limited foot. Sam Okwanu, limited knee. 2 more ankles. Kevin Strong, the defensive lineman, limited ankle. Ryan Tannehill, limited ankle. Rashad Weaver back. Full participation.
What Molden?
Molden doesn't have to be reported because he's technically not on the team.
But did he practice?
Yeah, he practiced. He's in the window to practice for 3 weeks.
Oh, so that doesn't mean he's going to play.
Okay, as long as it's been since he's played. Like, he's getting his mentals. He's got his mentals because he's in, whatever he's in, and he sees what he sees. How long till he gets his physicals ready to, like, chase down people on the Chiefs like Travis Kelce?
Well, I have no idea as far as what he's been doing, training and conditioning and what his rehab. But what was it? They said it was a muscle injury?
That was so long ago.
I don't remember.
Lower leg injury.
Yeah, I don't remember. But, yeah, he runs for a living, so I would say in a couple of weeks he should be able to be out there.
But would you 0 to 60 him? Would you be like, yeah, we're just going to activate you. You had a good week of practice. You can go chase the Chiefs around.
Oh, no. If you know anything about it, I don't know. I'm not very big on that.
Okay.
Nah. Not unless I know for sure that he's been running in the treadmill in the water as well as treadmill outside of the water. He's doing side sprinting. He's in shape because if any type of muscle injury, you don't want to risk that, and coming back too soon and those things. It's just going to be a chronic deal all season.
Let's get this guy. He just finished with practice. DeMarcus Walker, Titans defensive lineman, joins us now. DeMarcus, how was practice today, man? How about this November weather in Tennessee?
I'm just as shocked as anyone, in Tennessee.
I mean, does it feel like Florida out there to you?
Yeah, to be honest with you, feel like Houston right now. But
Houston.
No, it's definitely a blessing to be able to have some warm weather right now.
All right, I have to ask you about this because we have guests on like you, and I go back and I'm reading all these interviews and I'm finding these things. I wanted to ask you, 2016 Florida State versus Ole Miss. I think you guys are down at the half. Tell me what happened when you came out and just singularly destroyed them in the second half. Hit 4.5 sacks in a half.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. That was definitely a crazy game. A lot of emotions going in that locker room, and then you had to challenge yourself and to be able to help this team win.
Well, that was an incredible game, incredible career at Florida State, including a national championship there with a local guy that my co-host here and former Titan Blaine knows well, Jalen Ramsey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me and Jalen came in around the same time and came in that program ready to work. Definitely challenged a lot as freshmen, and the whole team got better and we were able to get it done.
Oh, yeah, pretty good team for sure. DeMarcus Walker, our guest at livinglegend_44 on Twitter, Titans defensive lineman, joining us now on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, thanks for coming on, DeMarcus. I guess first talk a little bit about, playing multiple positions on this kind of scheme, whether you're outside, DN or D tackle. Kind of take us through all those different positions a little bit, what you like and, and what you prefer to do as far as when you're a pass rusher.
It's a blessing being a versatile player, being able to play all over the line. And, to be honest with you, I like both. My girlfriend likes both. You know what I'm saying? She likes when I'm rushing outside, then rushing inside. Obviously, it's a more tougher run schemes that you have to play down there in the interior at the 3 and the 1. But just getting assimilated to that was pretty it's pretty smooth, I would say. And then now, just being able to make plays all over the field, just getting confident, see what I see, and then go.
When you first got in the league till today, which you've been in the league here, you've been a veteran for a while here. How has your game, let's say, evolved as time has gone on?
Tremendously. I mean, through the grace of God, tremendously. The moment as a human, when you shut yourself off from learning, then, you're setting yourself up for turmoil. And, being able to work and, learn from different guys across the country, from D.T. Jordan to Coach Day out in San Francisco to Jay Hicks down in Dallas, add more, game to my repertoire. It's definitely been a surreal moment.
No doubt about it. We're on with DeMarcus Walker, D-tackle for the Tennessee Titans. I guess, had you ever played in a game like you played in last week versus the Texans where your defense just dominated that much in a game? I mean, in a pro game, an NFL game?
I believe so. I've been fortunate enough to play on many great defenses. But, that one last week was definitely a good win. Now we just got to continue on and get ready for Kansas City.
Oh, and the Chiefs, right now, have y'all watched any film on the Chiefs yet? How much have y'all watched film? What do you have to do to come away with a win up front, just the D-line?
I mean, we watched a good bit. Obviously we still have more to watch to Sunday night. I started Monday. Great guy. Obviously, we all know who Pat Mahomes is. Have a good line, and those guys, play within their scheme well. So you got to get after them.
Well, I mean, I have to ask you because you got DeMarcus Walker. I play with a whole bunch of guys that start with D. Walker. Do you have any nickname that anybody kind of goes by with you, or something that maybe, or tell us a nickname maybe you grew up with or something, man? Something, man. We got to get you a nickname.
Gotta give me a nickname. I mean, I'll be honest with you. As the journey continued going on, I feel like a nickname would come. A lot of guys just call me D-Walk. A lot of guys call me Walk. When people want to mess with me after a good game, they'll call me Living Legend.
Oh, it's Living Legend. So why do you think they call you that?
Look at the handle name, man.
Oh, your handle name on Twitter. Well, I mean, I'm talking about why do you have that? Is there something behind that?
I've been calling myself that since I was about 13 years old. So it's something that I always stuck.
Okay, cool. We're on with the living legend, DeMarcus Walker.
I'm going to start calling myself that, too. I just like the sound of it.
That's what I used to call Bruce Matthews, man, the living legend while I was playing with him.
There you go. All right. It seemed like you just fit in here from the jump. We talked to your position coach, Coach T, in the preseason. He was so excited to have you here and talked about how you just plugged right in seamlessly. And you did that in a room that, honestly, the defensive line room, y'all got the deepest position group on the team. Just what's that process been like, coming in, fitting in, and being part of such a great group?
I mean, it's not my first time. I mean, trust me, I got drafted with the team that had Von Miller, Shane Ray, Derek Wolfe, Shaq Barrett.
Ooh.
Come on now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So Adam Gotsis, so I had to Domicile Pecco. So I'm sorry, I'm just getting off there. So it's not my first rodeo, but the biggest thing is being myself. You know what I'm saying? Being myself, and that's the humble, quiet kid that always come in and work. And then, once I get confident around everyone, then I might open up more and talk more. And that's just been the same thing I've been sticking to.
Take us through the sack against the Texans.
I was mad, man. I was gritty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not gritty, but I just had a lot of grit. And then, I put a lot of work into my craft, and I like my quickness. So, just took a start inside and seen the center was getting to block Nico. Just took the air and then wound up seeing Davis, and I wanted to let that go.
Feel good to get one against a team you used to play for?
Absolutely. It's always feel good to get them. But, that one was definitely a lot sweeter. I had a lot of emotions before the game and after the game. So that was a blessing.
Well, it seems like you're in the right spot here, and it's fun watching you and your teammates ball out. It was great seeing you get the sack and a big win, and just go get Patrick Mahomes a couple times on Sunday night, DeMarcus.
I got you guys, man. Go Titans.
Yes, sir.
appreciate
DeMarcus Walker, living legend. He is at living legend _44, Titans defensive lineman. I don't know if Jordan Hill is a legend, but he covers the legendary Georgia Bulldogs, and he will join us next as we talk Vols and Dawgs on Blaine and Mickey. What a football. Blaine and Mickey rocking the Casbah on a Thursday afternoon. A little Titans talk. It's a pretty big game going on in Georgia this weekend. The Vols and the Dawgs playing. Jordan Hill at Jordan Davis Hill on Twitter. Dogs 24/7 joins us now. Jordan, before we even start talking about this game, first of all, great to have you on. I saw that you wrote about Vince Dooley this week. Man, what a legend and what a loss for the Georgia community that gentleman was.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you think about someone who's been a staple of, really beyond Georgia football, at UGA athletics, and really the university as a whole. I mean, since he came to Athens in 1963, 1964, I mean, he was a constant presence here in Athens. I mean, he was 90 years old when he passed away, and it was just a couple of weeks ago that we were out at player interviews, and I just happened to look and turn, and who's walking into the sports communications office but Vince Dooley. I mean, he was still staying busy. He was still checking in with his friends, his former coworkers. He very much represented the university well, and I mean, it's a huge loss just for everything he accomplished and everything he meant to all the people, not only in Athens, but really the entire state, and beyond that, really the entire Southeast. Yeah,
really, really neat guy. And, when I was growing up, he was the coach at Georgia and, of course, the, legendary national championship team. But, you talk about people you identify with the place. You identified him at Georgia. So certainly rest in peace and condolences to all the Georgia family for losing that gentleman. Let's switch gears to modern day now. Obviously, we got a huge matchup on Saturday night. What did you think of the initial college football rankings? About what you thought? Were you surprised? How did that shake out for you?
Yeah, it's funny. I've gone on a few podcasts and radio hits, and sort of my point has been, I figured Tennessee would be number one given they beat Alabama, given their success this year. But what surprised me more was really Ohio State being number two. I sort of assumed Georgia would be number two. With the win over Oregon, taking care of teams like Florida, South Carolina along the way. I'm just not really convinced. And again, it's the initial poll, or, the initial college football ranking. It doesn't necessarily mean much. But, to me, Ohio State's best win is Penn State. And I think it's a Penn State team that people got super excited about because it went and beat what I think is a subpar Auburn team on the road. To me, I think Georgia probably should have been number two, and then probably Ohio State third. But at the end of the day, very first ranking, a long way to go, and especially given this game on Saturday, no matter where they were ranked, whoever wins, I feel pretty confident will be number one when we talk about the next college football playoff ranking next week.
Are you surprised that the Vols have gotten here as quickly as they have under Josh Heupel, just as a guy who covers the league?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about, I thought Josh Heupel did a good job at UCF. But, I mean, he was hired in January, when he got to Tennessee last year. I mean, you knew the situation at Tennessee. Things had kind of fallen apart under Jeremy Pruitt. And I thought that they would be a lot, more competitive, probably a team that could make strides and, probably be around the highest point of the Butch Jones era when, 8 wins, 9 wins. And credit to Josh Heupel and the staff he's assembled. They've done such a good job evaluating talent. I think it was kind of the perfect storm with when he came in. One of the things you can't really say Jeremy Pruitt didn't do was recruit well and especially recruit good players on defense. And I think it's kind of this year's team is sort of a combination of Josh Heupel identifying playmakers on offense, the biggest one being Hendon Hooker, getting him from Virginia Tech, and then some of the talent that was already there combined with what they've gotten to add to the defense. Kudos to Josh Heupel. I think that he's got the strongest argument at this point for probably, Bobby Dodd, National Coach of the Year, and awards just like that. I thought eventually that he could get Tennessee where, they were consistently going to a bowl game, but I think anybody would tell you if they tell you that they thought they'd be at this level in year two, I think they're fibbing just a little bit.
Jordan Hill, no fibs from him at Jordan Davis Hill on Twitter, at Dawgs247 for the latest Georgia coverage.
Well, Jordan, man, we had someone here talk about kind of the history of Georgia and at Athens at their stadium. Is this the biggest game as far as rankings of the two teams ever there in Athens, there at their stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it's up there. I think this is the third ever matchup of top 5 teams, and you have to go back to, I want to say 1983 and 1942 or 43. I mean, we're going way back to talk about a game of this kind of magnitude. And, there's been big games along the way, as far as atmosphere and anticipation. What we've heard all week from players is 2019 Notre Dame playing that game in Athens, and everybody, expecting the crowd to show up and play well. I think it was a situation that that lived up to the billing, and I think a lot of people are expecting a similar atmosphere on Saturday.
How do they do the ticket price? I'm always curious because, I asked a buddy of mine, I was thinking, hey, man, I'd like to go down there to, the Georgia game. Oh, man, those ticket prices skyrocket. I'm like, man, they could just fluctuate the ticket prices based off the games, I guess, huh? Is that how it works?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're on, it's all about supply and demand. People are wanting to get into this one. So StubHub and everybody like that, they're going to mark them up. I've got some family in town, and it was funny. A few months ago, we knew they were coming, and it was like, why don't we get some tickets? And then they waited, and it was like, we probably could have paid for probably Christmas and maybe next year's vacation had we bought them and turned around and sell them, because the demand is outrageous right now.
Well, finally, is everybody giving Stetson Bennett, his just due, or there's still rumblings of they should play another quarterback? What is the stick on Stetson Bennett now at this point?
I mean, it's I've covered other teams. I was at Auburn for a while. There is no one that is more popular on a college campus, or especially in the stands, than your backup quarterback. Everybody always thinks option 2 is better, and to say that, too, this will be a chance for Stetson Bennett to quiet some of that talk. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's coming in on the other side, and Hendon Hooker, who I think is a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. He is going to have a chance to prove himself, Stetson Bennett. This could wind up being kind of like a track meet and a shootout. And I do think he's up for the challenge. He kind of dealt with a shoulder injury earlier last month, and it seems like he's gotten over that, and they had a bye week that I think helped a lot. But yeah, everybody always wants to see the other guy. That's sort of the unknown, and then once that backup gets in, more often than not, you can kind of see why he wasn't getting quite as many reps as the guy in front of him.
Run with Jordan Hill, Dawgs 247 beat writer.
Pretty amazing that a defense can lose 5 first-rounders and still be number 2 in the nation. Pretty amazing stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have so many people come off that team. You have 8 starters that are lost from that 2021 squad. And a couple of players were asked about that this week, and sort of the response that was echoed by all of them, including Kirby Smart, was that the standard is the standard. And, I think the way they played, I think that just underlines how they've recruited under Kirby Smart. It's been year to year that, you would be surprised if they did not end up in at least the top 4, and they've had, a number 1 class along the way. It just shows you how good of a job they've done, not only evaluating talent and bringing it into Athens, but continuing to develop it. Guys like Glenn Schumann, he's not here anymore, but Dan Lanning, those guys on defense have continually brought in talent and continue to turn out really good players.
Jordan, it's interesting, though, as good as this defense is, it only has 10 sacks. So I'll ask you, why do you think that is? What's kind of contributed to that lack of pressure? And how big is the Nolan Smith loss? Because he's got 3 of the 10 that they have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Nolan Smith's loss is humongous. I mean, the pass rush has been something that we've talked about really all year. And, Kirby Smart has been sure to point out that, sacks aren't the end-all, be-all. You can affect a quarterback without necessarily sacking him. And, he's made comparisons of, well, if you put pressure on a quarterback and say he throws an interception, making a bad decision because of the pressure, you'll take that over having that sack. But I do think it's a concern. They have done a little bit better. I think they might have had 3 sacks on Saturday against Florida. But losing Nolan Smith is humongous. I mean, he was a guy that I really think was on his way to maybe his most productive game statistically in that Florida game when he gets hurt. They need guys to step up. I think they need guys like Robert Bill, who wound up leading the team in sacks last year, kind of did it quietly. Need like true freshman Michael Williams to step up. They're going to have to pressure Hendon Hooker. And again, to Kirby's point, don't necessarily have to sack him, but if you give Hendon Hooker a whole lot of time, we've seen again and again that typically does not go well for the opponent.
Jordan Hill on with us at Jordan Davis Hill on Twitter, covers the Georgia Bulldogs for Go Dogs 247.
Jordan, well, for Georgia to win, what will they most likely have to accomplish in this game versus the Vols?
The big thing to me is starting fast. Tennessee has done such a good job of that under Josh Heupel, even going back to 2021. I think Georgia's got to start fast. The thing that has held them back and some of the situations this year where they have struggled is turnovers. 2 turnovers against Kent State, 2 against Missouri, actually 3 against Kent State, 2 against Missouri, and then you have 2 against Florida in the second half and third quarter alone that kind of opened that game back up. Turnover margin is the sort of situation that could get you in trouble if you're playing a really good team, and I do think Tennessee is a really good team. I think Georgia needs to take advantage of what I think is a pretty suspect Tennessee pass defense. I think we're going to see a lot of Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, the 2 tight ends. It's been talked about going back to fall camp that those guys are such a mismatch for defenses. I think this is going to be sort of a proven ground in the fact that they can rely on those guys. And if this game really is on the line, I expect them to throw to number 19 and throw to number 0 quite a bit.
Well, history says through, I guess, Kirby Smart, defenses haven't fared very well versus high potent, scoring offenses. So has he talked about a little bit of maybe last year's matchup and, what they're doing or not doing?
It's one of those situations that, Kirby always points out it's a new team and a different year. I mean, that it's a situation where you got a more experienced quarterback in Hendon Hooker. You've got Josh Heupel really having more of his guys and these receivers and really everybody on board understanding sort of the way they want to operate and the way things work. And I think you've seen that. Tennessee has the 5th, is like quote unquote 5th worst in time of possession, but they're leading the league and leading the entire country in scoring per game. So you see that they're scoring quick. And, I don't know if they'll necessarily say, well, this worked last year, so we're going to do exactly that. A lot of different personnel on both teams, but I think they do kind of understand what they want to do. I'm expecting to see these inside linebackers, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, Smile Munden, have a lot put on their plate for Georgia, for them to really try to affect and try to get to Hendon Hooker. And, if you can make him make mistakes, which he does not do often, you've got to take advantage and capitalize when it comes down to it.
Last question for me, and that is, a lot of people are talking about Georgia's secondary, which is really good. How do you think if they said we're going to go mano a mano, you get him, and just try to man up most of the game, are they capable of doing that?
I think they are capable, and I think that we'll probably see a lot of man. I think that they're going to count on their defensive backs and get them to trust their training. The guy that I really want to see is Keely Ringo. He's a guy that, for anyone listening, if you remember in that Alabama game, he seals the game with a pick six and essentially clinches Georgia's championship. And I think he's kind of had an up and down 2022. He's had missed opportunities along the way. He's been bailed out by a few mistakes by receivers who had gotten upper hand. But he's a guy that, before the season, people said could be a top 10 pick. I don't think that's necessarily off the table, but I think this is a proven ground for him. I think this is an opportunity with the talent that Tennessee has at receiver. And now you got to factor in that Cedric Tillman came back last week. I mean, that only makes their receiving core deeper. Keely Ringo's got a chance to really prove that he is an NFL caliber corner. And I think they're going to count on those guys. I think we're going to see a lot of man and see if they're up for the challenge.
There you have it, Jordan Hill, Dawgs 247 beat writer.
Hey, where does Brock Bowers is so fascinating to watch? Where does, and I know it's only his second year, which is almost impossible to believe. Where does he have a chance to rank among like the greatest of the greats at Georgia?
I mean, he'll be up there, and he would definitely be the greatest tight end of all time. And basically, there's other positions, guys like A.J. Green and guys on defense like David Pollock. But, most of those guys tend to be running backs and a few quarterbacks mixed in there along the way. So, it's hard to say. He's only a sophomore, and, he has at least another year here at Georgia. But I think people have seen the amount of production he's brought to the table and the amount of just flat-out insane plays he's made. I'm not going to say he'll be the greatest to ever do it because there's a lot of guys that are highly thought of over the years, but he definitely has a chance to make an imprint and become one of those marquee guys that when you talk about Georgia, you talk about Brock Bowers.
Again, he leads Georgia in receiving yards, 547. He leads them in TDs. He's second in catches. He has the longest reception of anybody on the team, and it's not like Georgia doesn't recruit explosive guys. His longest reception is 78 yards. That's 40 yards longer than the next guy's longest reception.
Yeah, and you might have to check this, but I think he's got the longest run. He had a 75-yard touchdown run against Kent State. I mean, he can do it all. I don't know how good of an arm he has. Maybe they want to get him in there to pass, but he's doing pretty well anytime he actually touches the ball.
Well, it's like what Hines Ward, I think, was like 3 yards short of one of his thousands, or he would have had 1,000 yards and 4 things, something crazy like that. So he's giving him an all-purpose run for his money. All right, on the way out, I did ask you about Nolan Smith. What's the latest on the health of the Dawgs overall, just before we let you go, Jordan?
Yeah, we know that Nolan is out and it does not seem like he'll be back this season. A.D. Mitchell, one of the receivers who's been battling an ankle injury, I don't expect him to play on Saturday. He'll likely dress out. They may see if he can go through warm-ups. Sounds like things are pretty promising with Amarius Mims, one of the offensive linemen, who comes in off the bench and plays. He had an MCL sprain on Saturday. Sounds like he's been working on the side, not necessarily practicing with the team. And then the biggest other than those guys, Jalen Carter came back, played 20 snaps against Florida. Sounds like he is responding well coming out of that game. And, again, another guy they're going to count on, a guy that may wind up being the top Georgia player drafted and could be in that mix for maybe a top 5 pick in April. He's going to be on hand, and it looks like he's going to play a pretty significant amount for the second straight week.
Man, we appreciate it. The game should just be great on Saturday night. Enjoy it. And college football, what a fantastic season this has been and continues to be. And if you want to know what the Dawgs are doing in it, Jordan Hill, at Jordan Davis Hill on Twitter, at Dawgs247 for all the latest. Thanks, Jordan.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Jordan Davis Hill. Follow him on Twitter for all the latest. All right, when we come back, 2 huge honors for 2 Titans. One who's been here a while and is used to it. One who needs to get used to it, it looks like. We'll explain next. Blaine. 104.5 The Zone, 3HL coming up next, so you can check that out. They could celebrate this. And if the AFC, Players of the Month have come out. Derrick Henry announced as the AFC Offensive Player of the Month for October. Ryan Stonehouse is the AFC Special Teams Player of the Month. So Derrick Henry, 563 yards rushing, 5 rushing TDs, and wins over the Colts, Commandskins, and Colts, and Texans. Yes, I said Colts twice. He also caught 9 passes for 82 yards. That was 645 all-purpose yards that he had in those 4 games. Stonehouse in October averaged 51.7 yards on 20 punts with a long of 66 in October. So his first, maybe of many, Player of the Month awards. Derrick Henry, that not surprising. Derrick Henry was also the most recent Player of the Week as well. He should have been, because he's still running against the Texans right now.
Well, we knew Derrick Henry was going to be there. Stonehouse, it started off fast and was holding the fort pretty well. I think he had maybe from the coach's point of view, maybe one bad kick, maybe.
They keep talking about his hang time. He needs to get his hang time back.
See about that? But he got Player of the Month. Yeah.
He needs more hang time, though. That's
out kicking his coverage. Yeah,
out kicking his. Well, other teams are averaging about 10 yards per return against the Titans.
So that's why he's in.
So that's why they're saying it. I mean, he's booming it down there.
But guess what? He kicking for his numbers.
He's getting some numbers.
Yeah, hang time or do you want distance, man? What are the two?
It is funny, just the difference in what he did. Kern's thing was, I'm going to punt it or you have no chance to return it.
Yeah, with the hang time.
And Stonehouse, it's just like, I'm going to bludgeon this thing, and then whatever happens, happens. Now, he's getting better at placing them inside the 20 and those kind of things. Kern did like the Jedi mind trick deal where a guy would go to catch it, and he's drifting. He would catch and look down, and one of his feet would be out of bounds. Mm-hmm. Like Kern just messed with people. He got so good at what he did. But, you go from, at this point in his career, now he could cut one loose when he wanted to, but he was just to think about a guy dropping a ball and punting it outside most of the time in the wind or the rain or the elements or whatever, and being able to punt a football however many yards and then make it go exactly where you wanted. Like, you could probably take Kern out in the parking lot and say, kick it over there and hit the blue car. Oh, okay, I'll hit that car. Well, kick it in the trash can. Okay, I can kick it in the trash can. Not throwing it, punting it. That's pretty amazing.
Well, they're specialists. That's why they're,
gosh.
It's called special teams. And it's no different than, that's why I always equate kickers, whether you're a punter or the kicker, to golf. It's just like that. Oh, put it right there on the green. This is exactly what they do with the football, which is pretty fascinating because it's a specialty that most people can't perfect the craft, except for the guys who are making it to the National Football League, and some of them even in college. So it's something that you have to train and perfect, and it's really difficult. So my hat's always off to the punters and the kickers, man. I have a lot of respect for them because I couldn't do that if my life depended on it. And, man, that's equally hard. And then to do things with the ball where you can make it come back, just no look different if you have that backspin on a golf ball, all those things where it goes up and all of a sudden it pulls away from the player. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, that's fascinating. Kern was the best at it.
And then you got to see the guy before him. You got to see
Craigie.
You got to see Craig Hentrick, man.
Phenomenal athlete, too, by the way, Craigie. He played receiver and defensive back even in high school. So, yeah. He
was the emergency quarterback.
Yeah,
for people who don't believe that.
He could throw.
Titans
he was a
punter.
Really good athlete. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he could throw. He could. He also was his defense. He could tackle, man. It was times there I was like, hey, man, you getting a little too nosy up in there, man. You can watch the film. He's up there running down, trying to get in on tackles, even when he wasn't. It was like, ooh, hey, man, just be the kicker, man. We want you there at the end of the game. Appreciate it, though. Yep. Players of the month. Tip the cap. Players of the month. Stonehouse and the King.
All right, before we go, I always like to – the Titans do this thing on Thursday. They have these, like, obscure stats that they dump out. Every week something happens to Derrick Henry, right, where they send us, and it's like it's only Derrick Henry and Barry Sanders and Jim Brown, right?
Oh, that's
every week there's something like – so here's this week's unbelievable Derrick Henry thing. Are you ready for this week's unbelievable – we need a theme for this, Lucas, because every week in the stat dump is just some unbelievable thing where it's like Derrick Henry and Hall of Famers. So here you go. Derrick Henry reached the 100-yard rushing mark in each of the team's 3 most recent road games, including the 219-yard effort against Houston. He has 32 career 100-yard rushing games, including 29 in the regular season and 3 in the playoffs. This is on the road. The best road winning percentages when a player rushes for 100 yards in regular season and postseason in history. The best winning percentage for any team belongs to the Titans and Derrick Henry. He is 19 of 22. He's 19-2, the Titans and Derrick Henry, when he runs for 100 yards on the road. That's 905, basically. 9 out of 10 times, if he runs for 100 yards on the road, they win. He's got he's 32 career games. I guess 21 of them are on the road, it says. So 21 games, he's 19-2, 9 out of 10 times.
Just keep giving him the ball then.
And they're going to go to Kansas City with the hopes of giving it. I mean, I'm sure they've already told him, hey, we're going to give it to you 30 times. I mean, can you get 100 at Kansas City on 32 carries? I would think so.
Possibly. One person won't be getting carries or throws. That's Michael Thomas, who's out for the year, IR, toe surgery. Well, front row. So just be thankful that the king is out there and doing what he always does. Rule as a king. On the field. I mean, man.
Thomas will miss 40 games since 2020. 40 since 2020.
Sayonara, night-night. That's what they said to him.
Been a long, nice career, but oh my gosh.
Gotta go.
Just like we got to go, because our show has been a long, nice 2 hours, but now it's time for us to shove off and give way to 3HL.
In the meantime.
In between time.
Youngsters. Peace.
Peace. Oldsters, youngsters, everyonesters. Start your week 9 in the NFL off all the way right with a no sweat, same game